A Ring camera captures two friends walking into an Airbnb just after 4 p.m. There are balloons inside, a cake, presents wrapped and waiting. It looks like the start of a perfect birthday. 3 hours later, that same camera catches something else entirely. One of those friends carrying the other out the door. Limp, lifeless, slung over his back like a sack of laundry. This is the story of Jocelyn Toaquiza and the childhood friend who turned her 21st birthday into her final day alive. Jocelyn Toaquiza was 21 years old, originally from Ecuador. She'd been living in Syracuse, New York for a little over a year, staying with her uncle and building a new life in the United States. On June 18, 2024, it was her birthday, and she wasn't spending it alone. She was celebrating with someone she'd known since childhood back in Ecuador, 21-year-old John Chacaguase Ilbis. He'd arranged something special for her, an Airbnb rental, decorated for the occasion. Cake, drinks, gifts. On the surface, it looked like exactly what it was supposed to be, a gesture from an old friend. Ring camera footage, later obtained by local news, shows the two of them arriving at the property around 4:20 in the afternoon. Jocelyn walks in under her own power, smiling, completely unaware of what was waiting for her inside those walls. What happened inside that Airbnb over the next 3 hours has never been fully explained. Not by John, not by investigators, not by anyone. What we do know is this. By roughly 7:20 that evening, the same camera that recorded Jocelyn walking in on her own 2 feet recorded John carrying her out. Her arms and legs hang loose. He struggles under her weight, hauling her across the driveway. The footage itself doesn't show the moment she died, but investigators would later determine that Jocelyn had been strangled. John didn't take her far. Just across the street sat Lincoln Park. That's where he buried her, in a shallow grave, in the middle of a public park, in a city she'd only recently started calling home. Jocelyn's friends came back to the Airbnb later that night, expecting to find her there. She wasn't. No one thought much of it at first. Maybe she'd gone home. Maybe there was a simple explanation. There wasn't. Days passed. Then, on June 22nd, 4 days after her birthday, Jocelyn's body was found in Lincoln Park. It was only then that the investigation turned toward John. The Airbnb's owners had already flagged something troubling: blood inside the rental, and that Ring camera footage showing exactly who had left with Jocelyn and who had left without her. Here's where the story gets even harder to stomach. In the days after killing his childhood friend, John didn't go into hiding out of guilt. He started using her stolen credit cards. Among the purchases, a subscription to OnlyFans. There was no remorse in his movements, only a man trying to disappear and live comfortably while doing it. Investigators traced him roughly 230 miles away to Spring Valley, New York. He wasn't staying anywhere permanent. According to police, his route after the murder took him from Syracuse to New York City and finally to Spring Valley, where he ultimately turned himself in, just days after Jocelyn's body was discovered. As the case unfolded, more details about John's background came to light. He had entered the United States without legal authorization in 2022, arriving from Ecuador. Some reports suggested he may have been pursuing asylum, but it was never made entirely clear whether that process was genuinely underway or whether it was simply a way to stay under the radar. None of that explained why he killed Jocelyn. It only added more layers to a case that already felt senseless. John was formally charged with Jocelyn's murder. In court, the presiding judge didn't mince words, calling the crime unimaginable and struggling to find any rational explanation for what had happened. Ultimately, John pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. At sentencing, he offered an apology, but never a reason, no motive, no explanation for why he lured his childhood friend into a birthday celebration and ended her life just hours later. Jocelyn's family had spent weeks working to bring her body home to Ecuador. Speaking through an interpreter at the sentencing, they were unequivocal. They would never forgive him. Jocelyn Toaquiza came to the United States to build a new life. Instead, someone she'd known since she was a child took that life from her, on the one day that was supposed to be entirely hers. To this day, the why remains missing, and for a family grieving thousands of miles from where it happened, that absence of an answer may be the hardest part of all. If this case affected you, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe for more real cases, carefully researched and respectfully told.